All right, everybody, we're coming through with another deal review. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. We got ourselves a seller financing deal we're doing today, and this comes in the form of a motivated seller and got some health challenges and they need money fast. Okay, and what makes this deal happen is we have the ability to offer a seller who's motivated quick cash, right? Because the house needs a little bit of work and they don't want to do any work to the thing. They don't want to hassle with anything, and they own the property free and clear. So whenever there's a free and clear seller, whenever they don't have any debt on it, and whenever they don't need all of the money up front, and they're not willing to really take a massive discount, well, we can offer seller financing. We do this quite a bit, and it's always really, really strong plays because a lot of times you can structure very low interest and sometimes 0% interest. That's actually what we got set up on this particular example. The seller's totally fine with it because we are offering them and giving the seller everything that they need, and we are going to break it down. So RJ, how you doing today? I think you're on mute, RJ.
Happy Monday, everybody. Good to start off the week with a deal review. If you guys have any questions about the deals, post it in the comments, and we'll hopefully we have enough time to answer them as they come. But interesting deal that we have in a nice part of Columbus.
So something that we've been talking about quite a bit is whenever we're analyzing a deal, we start with the same four things. There's always the same four things that we always look at. And we have a fun little acronym. RJ came up with this called PAR. RJ, why don't you explain what PAR is?
So PAR is real simple. It's just four things that we got to know. It's purchase price, that's for P. And then ARV, or after repair value, which is A. And then rehab or renovations, which stands for R. And the last R stands for rent. As many of you guys know, we are buy and hold investors, and we need to know what rents are.
PAR, P-A-R-R. So this particular deal, what is my P? What's my price? I know what it is. You might not have it in front of you. It's $150,000. And ARV we came up with. RJ, what do you think for the ARV on this one?
180.
Rehab, we're not sure. Let's just use a common example here. What do you think for the rehab, RJ?
So a lot of the rehabs we've been saying yes to are roughly low level one. So I would put this at 15K.
And what did we come up with for the rent?
1,600.
And for the viewers, how do we check rent comps? How do we like to do that, RJ? Why don't you share that?
Well, there's your free sources like Rentometer, Zillow, and then you can check on the MLS. You need to get MLS access or know a realtor that's willing to share their comps with you. And then now that we've been in the market for close to 10 years now, we've been using our own comps.
That's right, buddy. We got internal comps. That's precious data. And what we do every time we buy a house, sell a house, rent a house, we document that, and we've been documenting it for many years. So we can literally pull up a map and show you other houses that we've done in this particular area. So we rely on those are the best comps in my opinion, because that's based off our experience, real life money, right? Mm-hmm. So this particular seller, they owe zero on the property and they need some quick cash. So the way we've been negotiating this one is we're going to pay them $150,000, 60K down. And then the seller is willing to accept $1,000 per month for 36 months, 3 years. Okay. And then a balloon note at the end of the 3-year term. And what that means is, you know, the whole balance is due. So if we pay $150,000 total and we give him $60,000 down, that means we're going to owe $90,000 on the deal, paying $1,000 per month. Sorry. And then paying $1,000 per month, that's 100% going towards the principal. There's no interest. So every single month we pay him $1,000, it chips away at that $90,000 balance. Okay. So the way we're looking at this thing is we could either pay him that $60,000 with our own cash and, you know, essentially, you know, rehab it with our own cash and then rent it out. And basically, you know, we're just chipping away. Our payment's $1,000 a month. We rent it for $1,600 a month. It's a positive cash flow. And we're just chipping away at that debt. And at the end of 3 years, if we owe 90 and we've been paying $1,000 per month going towards the principal every single month, at the end of the 3 years, we would only owe $54,000 on this house, right? And if it's worth 180 today, we were running the numbers, even if the market just appreciated, this is a pretty solid area, even if the market just appreciated 6% per year, which we've been averaging higher than 6%, and I think with inflation, it's gonna be higher than 6%, but conservatively, if it is going up $180,000, I'm sorry, 6% every year, in 3 years, hypothetically, it could be worth $214,000. That's at 6% growth rate. And again, we would only owe $54,000 on this house. It's a pretty strong equity play, right? Now, there's a couple different ways we can do this. That's if we just paid with our own cash, and we have some lazy money out there in a bank account that, you know, we have with another business that we own, and that's actually the play that we're going to do. But if you didn't have the $60,000 to do this yourself, you very easily could raise the money from a private lender, and that's something we're going to look at here as well. So if we raised the $60,000 from a private lender, they need to go now. They're going to be in first position. You always got to protect your lender, right? Remember, we have a second mortgage in this instance because we owe the seller the $90K. So private money goes in first position. Second position is the seller. For $90K. And this is going to be, the first position is $60K. So if we raise the $60,000 against a house that's worth $180,000, that's a very conservative and safe loan for the private lender. You see that? And basically, you always got to put your private lender in first position. But remember, if you're raising this $60,000, you got to offer an interest rate on that. So let's pretend that we were paying, if we raised the first position $60K for the down payment, and we were paying our investor 9%, which is much, much better than the bank. A lot of our investors line up out the door for 9% because it's safe, it's secure, first position, very conservative LTV. Well, our payment on $60,000 at 9% is going to be $450 a month. Remember, our second position, we got to pay $1,000. So that's $1,450. It's cutting it close. We still got taxes and insurance, but remember, we're running it for $1,600. It's basically a break even at this point, but it's still really good because every single time you pay that $1,000, you're just chipping away at that debt. There's no interest on that. So that's how you would raise money if you didn't have the $60,000 cash, you would raise the money, put your seller in first position, and then you would offer them an interest rate. So that's where the $450 per month comes into play. Any questions so far, RJ? What's coming up for you?
Oh, how did we get to the $1,000 for the second?
That's just what he needs for his living expenses. Yep. Yeah. Ideally, whenever there's any financing involved, you always want the lowest payment and the longest term and the lowest interest rate. Lowest interest rate will dictate a low payment, but that's always what we're going for. We hit them up for 5 years. We want to stretch it out as long as we possibly can. This way we can basically just let this thing, appreciate, and we're just chipping away, hammering away at that debt. Because remember, in 3 years from now, we're still going to owe this guy, 60 or 54,000, right? So we got to pay him off. So if we raised the 60,000, that's what it would look like, $450 a month at 9%. Another way we can do this is if we brought in a private lender for the $60,000, right? And didn't offer them any interest whatsoever, but just said, look, we're not going to have a payment or anything like that. We're going to make you an equity partner. So you come up with all the money that we need to give us the down payment. We'll manage the rehab and whatnot. We found the deal. And then we own this thing together. So we're not going to pay you monthly. Instead, you could be a equity position with me and RJ in this particular deal. There's kind of 3 ways to do it. So number 1 is using our own cash. If you have the cash and the money's not working, doing something else, that's opportunity number 1. Number 2 is you raise it and you pay your investor an interest rate. And then number 2 is you raise the money, but don't give the seller an interest rate. You actually just make them part owner of the property with us.
So what would be our exit strategy to get the private lender their money back?
Well, we could refinance or we can sell. That's always kind of that's it, really. That's every exit strategy for this particular deal. But we're going to rent it out. That's kind of ultimately our exit strategy. And here's the cool thing. Let's pretend, we got a bank lined up who wants to come in and, do a refinance. What we could do is we're going to use that bank money, of course, to pay back our private lender. But remember that seller financing second mortgage, whenever you have come into some money or you're able to refinance, always call the seller and say, hey, I came up with a little extra money here. And I know we still have 2.5 years here to pay you back. If I could pay you off right now and pay you all up front, would you be willing to take a little bit of a discount? And what we have learned and seen in our experience, every single time they're pretty much open to taking a discount just to pay it off. So that's another negotiation that can happen in the future, is when you're ready to refinance, you actually call your seller to see if they'll discount that note that you've been paying on.
Yeah, and it actually worked for us. I think we did that on 2 houses. I think the one on Argyle and another house, Hopkins. So yeah, so this is great. And so, if I'm looking at this and I'm, wanting to find more deals like this, where do you think we should put marketing to find more?
I didn't mean to cut you off. If we're going to straight up owner financing, you need people who have a lot of equity. What makes this deal a reality is that the person doesn't have a mortgage on it. So in another example, maybe tomorrow, we can talk about kind of doing a subject to deal. And that's when they have a mortgage and you're actually going to come take ownership of the property, but pay those monthly mortgage payments. But in this case, if you're going for a straight up seller financing deal, the person has to have equity. And this strategy is ideal for a seller who has equity and maybe doesn't want to take a super haircut discount, right? We offered this seller, I think 110 cash. And he basically said, no, I got to live, I need that $1,000 a month. I need money. And that's how we ended up saying, hey, we could pay you more. I know you don't want to take our $110,000 offer. We could pay you more if you're willing to be a little bit flexible and take a substantial down payment. $60K is a lot of money. Obviously, we're going to raise that, put our private lender in first position. And we could always pay a little bit more to a seller if they're willing to be a little flexible.
Awesome. Yeah, let's see if we got any questions. I don't think we do, but we'll give it a couple more minutes. So in review, this this deal is great for homeowners that have equity in their houses. They want a monthly income. They don't want a bunch of cash all at once. In this example right here, they wanted a little bit. They were mainly interested in getting some sort of income from this. Do you foresee this strategy being something that everybody could take advantage of in today's environment, in today's situation?
There's always a deal to do, as you know. There's so many different situations that these sellers are going through that, I mean, you can do seller financing in any market. In fact, I wish the interest rates are so low right now, and that's why we're gobbling up bank money too. But seller financing is always going to be here. It doesn't matter what's going on with the interest rates. It doesn't matter what's going on in the political climate. Seller financing is truly an art, and we've learned from some of the best: Jack Miller, Eddie Speed, David Phelps, John Schaub, Peter Fortunato. These are our mentors, and they have built their entire empires built on seller financing. What trips people up, I think, is they think it's complicated. And then especially if they think it's complicated, if they don't have an easy way to explain it to a seller, they're toast, right? I mean, how many times have we seen that, RJ? Somebody gets too complicated. What's the answer going to be, RJ, if we start getting too complex?
It's going to be a big fat no. Got to keep it simple.
Oh, what is this? I think Eric Pfeiffer has a question. Eric Pfeiffer. Oh no, he just gave me the finger. Okay, hang on. Is there any questions? Any questions here? I think we're good. RJ, you got any other questions?
Nope. Hopefully you guys got some value from this. If you do have questions at a later time, this is obviously going to be on our Facebook wall. We'll talk to you guys.
Don't forget to get out there and vote, everybody. It's your boy.